What is going on, family? How is everybody doing? Here we got, let me get this thing right. How y'all doing? Yeah, everybody doing all right? Y'all doing all right? Ain't nobody depressed? I see I see a lot of people. You put pull yourself up. Pull yourself up. Pull yourself up. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. Listen, I'm not gonna take up like too much of your time, but we have some things we have to discuss. I've seen a lot of people who are taking their anguish and anger out on ADOS, and you are doing it wrong, ladies and gentlemen. You are doing it wrong, and you are doomed to repeat yourself. See, the thing that we have to understand, sometimes before you take a position, even on the state of politics today, sometimes what you got to do, you absolutely have to do this, is to understand the moment that you're in, right? And the Democrats are setting themselves up for failure yet again, because I see a lot of people making excuses, saying, well, it's a global thing. I'm not saying, forget all that. Fine. It's a global thing. Fine. What that mean? Does that mean y'all did half the things y'all had to do right? But you have to understand the moments. And you have to understand the moment that you're in. No, and blaming the electorate is not a way. Blaming the electorate is not the way, is not the path forward. I don't know who needs to hear this, but blaming the electorate and after they're poor is not the way, and that's not the path forward. So what I want to do today is just show you three things. I want to show you a trifecta. Three things that the Democratic Party allowed to go wrong, and one of them that was prime for the picking. It was right there for them, and they couldn't see it. Now, it's not hard. So let me just show you something. Before Trump or any of this, everybody was telling Biden, you got to do something radical. The court is over here. They politicize, and then they said Clarence Thomas is getting all the money. You got to do some radical stuff. See, you got to understand the moment, fam. And I'm not gonna, harp on it too bad, because I know the Democrats are licking their wounds, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying we're not gonna have some bad days ahead of us. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm going to tell you whose fault it is. Because radicalism was in the air. People were understanding there are things that I need that I'm not getting from this political project called American democracy. There are things that I deserve as a citizen that I am not getting from this political project called American democracy. There are things that I deserve, I work for, that I'm not getting as part of this project called American democracy. Now, there are people on both sides who said that. But your job, and if you ever run for office, please understand this. Your job is to define the enemy. If you got to tell people, see what Republicans have, and I'm not saying all, but what conservatives are all good doing is that what's the Negro? It's they getting all the jobs. This reverse discrimination. And the Negro is just getting too much. Look at them over there. They over there right now. Eating Salisbury steak. What kind of country do I live in? You have to define the enemy. Hey, the enemy, and listen, I think if you can be honest, you should be honest about it. We got corporations, they're not passing nothing down. We got, in terms of ADOS, we got inheritance. We don't have no inheritance. You got CEOs making whatever. That's the reason why some of that leftist stuff is the reason why Bernie caught. But then you got the other side of what the problem with Bernie is, that he didn't want to do the immigration stuff. You have to define the enemy, and then you have to be willing to do something radical. And if you don't do it, if you don't seize the moment that you are in, if you decide I'm not going to do this, I am going to continue to be moderate. If you continue to be moderate in a radical moment, you will fail. You have got to know the moment that you're in. And this is a radical moment. It was a pandemic. People are still suffering. I don't care. And if they don't feel, listen, if they don't feel nothing, you still got to give them something. People understand that they're making less. People understand that stuff is more expensive. People do understand what Kamala said in terms of price gouging, but the solution wasn't what it needed to be, and she couldn't explain it that way. There was no oomph. Nobody felt like she believed it or she was going to do it, and she came after Barack Obama, who promised hope and change and didn't do it. You have to understand, there were a lot of Republicans, moderate Republicans, not right, who voted for Obama. Say, I'm going to take a chance on him. They already took a chance on somebody brown to do something and didn't do nothing but give them moderation and all that stuff. They wanted something radical. This is a radical moment. And if you if you are in the midst of a radical moment and you do not understand that, hey, this moment they asking me to court pack. They want to do this. If you keep telling people, no, we can't do that. The Constitution is in the way. No, we could never do that. That could never do. You just don't understand. See, if you just don't know enough, we could never do that. Get over there and shut up somewhere with your unwashed horde, you Russian bot. Okay. And then you wonder, I don't know why some of these people, all these people went over there. It's a radical moment. Some of us still remember how you allowed Mitch McConnell to cheat you of a Supreme Court seat. We should have, in terms of we, I mean the Democrats or whatever. People say, why you say we? I'm talking about the party that I'm speaking for, the group. Majority of ADOS vote what? Democratic. Even this last election got a bump. Republicans got a bump. But what were we saying? I know I was saying at the time, you got to find a way to get Merrick Garland in there. Well, there's no technical way to get him in there. So when people talk to me about, oh my God, Yvette, how are you going to get reparations through the Supreme Court? I should have somebody who is more inclined to do it there than what I have. But, well, he couldn't get it through the Senate, Yvette. That was still Republican. You got to listen. I'm going to show y'all something in a minute. But so much of presidential power lies in the president's ability to influence and galvanize and weaponize the people against the electorate when it's something that the people want to need. It's your job to say this is what Garland would do for you. Not just, well, we need him and that's the technical way that you're supposed to do it. And, you know, we're supposed to get a vote. No, you tell the people, hey, these people are cheating. And if they get this, that was your first crisis in democracy right there. You want to know this is a crisis in democracy? This is a crisis. No, that was it. You were still in office, and Mitch McConnell told you no. I would have called the march. Everybody get here to Washington right now. I need 1 million of y'all, and we're going to march over there to his office. But see, that was your first crisis in democracy. For you to be in office, Barack Obama, and for you allow the U.S. Senate and Republicans over there to tell you no, and you get the right. He get a vote. I'm not saying how the vote go, but he get a vote. That was your first crisis in democracy that called for some kind of radicalism, and it did not happen. That is a problem, Democrats, and it's a problem on you. People have watched you fail. People have watched you show no muscle. People have watched you flex no power. And if you don't flex power, they will find another strong man who will. Because I will tell you something. People respect power. They don't respect academia. They don't respect knowledge. People respect power. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get them up here. Y'all going to have a vote. And if y'all don't have a vote, we going to tear this thing up. That was your moment, Democrats, to do something radical, to find a radical solution. Instead, you know what you did? You got on TV and said, this is so bad what Republicans are doing. It was so much because it's so bad. They know this is not the way that the government is supposed to work. People are not galvanized by how government is supposed to work. Sorry. People are galvanized by, hey, what have you done for me lately? What is this person that you want? What is they going to do? But instead, this is what we got. We got better is good. Obama, reparations, civil rights, and the art of the possible. Trump ain't worried about no art or no possible. I'm just telling you what it is. He is trying to bend government to his will. And when you see the people suffering, that's what you're supposed to do too. You're supposed to find a way to figure it out. The people will stand with you. You got to make the case. You got to cast the enemy as the enemy. It's him over there. And I'm going to fight him over there for you. Let's get it. And tell him why. You got to win that argument. You can't get a bunch of academics on TV telling us why. Well, you see, the problem is, if you go back to constitutional law, page 34, Don't nobody except for people in certain regions want to hear that. Don't nobody want to hear better is good when it don't feel good and it got worse after the pandemic. Don't nobody want to hear that. People were ready for radical, and from court packing to all that. You heard a bunch of stuff. You heard people talking about immigration. Hey, this is displacing us. Oh, you're xenophobic. Better is good. Obama said this should be the end of the Obama era. That's part of Kamala's problem. She looks too much like Obama. She had her own problems as a candidate, for sure. For sure. But you look way too much like somebody who didn't do a daggone thing for us last time. So what are we doing? Better is not good. This is a radical moment. Now, he radicalized people. White folks started believing they were discriminated against. Imagine, there's only one group that has been multi-generationally discriminated against for 400 years, and that's ADOS. And imagine you couldn't get into a college somewhere talking about I'm discriminated against. Well, child, if you can't get into the Harvard, go to Berkeley. If you can't get into Berkeley, go to Princeton. If you can't get into Princeton, go to Yale. You can get in somewhere, child. Shut up. Reverse discrimination. Reverse discrimination, my butt. Discrimination is when you can't get in nowhere. I'm locked out. You ain't locked out nowhere because you get to school of your choice. You spoiled brat. Y'all just spoiled brats. I didn't get into here, and it must be because they got too many Negroes. But I'm fine because y'all have took in people who were not us. Y'all took in people who were not ADOS. It was supposed to be redress. It'll end up going to mostly white women. So, hey, knock yourself out. It went to white women and black immigrants and people of color and whatever. So knock yourself out. But this reverse discrimination stuff is just a crock of trash. It's the white man is the child. Hush. You mean the villain in the story? But let me keep going, fam. I'm not trying to take up your whole time today, but I get to going. And so we got robbed of a Supreme Court justice, and only thing y'all could do was do episodes about it. And I just want to show you something that Obama said real quick and just kind of point to why I'm saying this should be the end of the Obama era. One of the things, this is Obama talking, child. You know how he is. One of the things you learn as president is, as powerful as this office is, you have limited bandwidth. And the time goes by really quick, and you're constantly making choices, and there are pressures on you from all different directions, pressures on your attention, not just pressures from different constituencies. It's so hard. That's what George W. Bush said. It's hard work. And so you have to be pretty focused about where you can have the biggest, quickest impact. And I always tell my staff, better is good. See, you're a bad manager too. Because a staff, before I continue going, a staff responds to the expectation you set. If you set the expectation of better is good, I don't know. I don't really got no vision. As long as it's got a little bit better, as opposed to like, no, I want this. This is a policy I want. No. This is what I want. And let's go get it. No, better is good. I'll take better every time because better is hard. Better may not be as good as the best, but better is surprisingly hard to obtain. And better is actually harder than worse. Child, shut up. I think history will remember Obama as a very weak president. I'm just telling you, don't be mad at me. They will remember him for his weaknesses. His legacy is in jeopardy, and for good reason, because you don't see Trump doing it. Trump has come, he already got it. Listen, we ain't nowhere near inauguration, and he got a full staff. Some of them who ain't never did none of the job they doing before, which may lead to a lot of chaos, but hey, he's doing it. You talking about better is good. He's trying to just transform the country in a way in a radical way that we never even experienced it before. And you over there talking about better is good. And you promised us hope and change. It looks like the change president is Trump. Now, that don't mean it's necessarily all change for the best or even majority change for the best, but you promised us change, Obama. We're going to get no change. What are we talking about? Well, y'all did it. Y'all ADOS. Y'all really did it. Well, let's talk about what Trump is doing. Trump is testing the limits of presidential power. Trump's demand to skirt Senate confirmation poses early test of a radical second term. He is testing the limits. He's pushing against the limits, whereas Obama was constrained by those limits. Now, you can tell me, well, he's a black president, so he was going to be constrained. Well, I don't need you. If you are going to be constrained and you've never wielded power, Trump been running around wielding power for however many years, doing all kinds of stuff. If you have never wielded power and you don't know how to do it, I don't need you. Trump has had 4 years to think about the stuff that he wanted to do and couldn't do it. Now he finna do it. This is not about right. And you know what? Like the other thing is, don't think about this as like right and wrong right now. Think about this as an exercise of understanding power and how to wield it. That's it. People get too emotional. Are you trying to say Trump is right? Are you trying, who is right, Yvette? Who is right? Who is wrong? I don't know. I don't understand what you're trying to say. No, I'm not taking a right or wrong. I'm talking to you about power in this country and how it moves. And how you can look at somebody and tell whether they understand how to wield power, whether they've had power before in their life or not. Or whether they're willing to take the risk. You got a risk that I might not get back in there. Understand, Trump lost the second time and came back. You know what kind of resilience that takes? You think Kamala's going to be sitting around somewhere taking notes, thinking about what she going to do when she get back in there? I doubt it. Maybe, could be, but I doubt it. Did a whole January 6th thing. Had them people in there pooping in Nancy Pelosi's office and whatever they were doing, and he's about to pardon them. And get back in there. And he don't care what you think about it. That's power. Power don't really sit around looking in the mirror talking about what you think, no, they just do what they do. We need some power. I'm talking about for ADOS people, we need some power. You gotta know what power looks like though, so you can recognize it when you see it. That's my point. And this is part of the trifecta. When we talk about the trifecta, the stuff that went wrong. We have a presidential power problem. We have a media problem, and we have an advocacy problem. Because I want to show you something else real quick too. Oh, let me just read a little bit from this first. President-elect Donald J. Trump's demand that Senate Republicans surrender their role in vetting his nominees poses an early test of whether his second term will be more radical than his first. Over the weekend, Mr. Trump insisted on social media that Republicans select a new Senate Majority Leader willing to call recesses during which he could unilaterally appoint personnel, allowing him to sidestep the confirmation process. Now, that didn't happen. I think who did they get? Was it Thune? Who did they get? But let me just, to sidestep the confirmation process. His allies immediately applauded during the first round of voting. I'm sorry, it was one round today. Was it today? Oh, get stuff. His allies immediately applauded the idea, intensifying pressure on GOP lawmakers to acquiesce. So something that I want y'all to understand forever, we have been, that is part of the congressional duty of the Senate to vet. But what he's kind of saying to you, listen, I got people that if you vet them, you won't want them. They might not pass a background check, but I'm going to put them through anyway. And guess what? His people are so behind him that applies pressure. What do you think could have or would have happened if Obama had told us as his voters? Because the first time I voted for Obama, not the second time. But what if he told his supporters? What if he told his supporters, hey, this is what I want, and you better help me make them do it. And this is how it benefits you. They the villain. I'm the one who's not the villain. I'm trying to save you. I need you to help me help you. You should never move within somebody else's constraints. Trump don't. Yeah. The Thune, it was Thune fam. Yeah, I thought it was. Because it was him, then it was Cornine behind him, and then the other little fellow, the one who did the Medicare fraud. What's his name? What's his name from Florida? The Medicare fraud guy. Let me go. Child, we do stuff and we do Negroes do a PPP something and get in jail. He done did all kind of Medicare fraud. He was almost Senate Majority Leader. Child, let me tell you, whiteness is something. But let me go to this next one. The demand to weaken checks and balances and take for himself some of the legislative branch's usual power underscored Mr. Trump's authoritarian impulses. While there is no obvious legal obstacle to Mr. Trump's request, it would be an extraordinary violation of constitutional norms. There is no historical precedent for a deliberate and wholesale abandonment by the Senate of its function of deciding whether to confirm or reject the president's choices to bestow with government power. And listen, there was a precedent, though, for court packing. There is no precedent for what Trump is doing. There was a precedent for court packing. You know who wouldn't do it? No Democrats. None. FDR threatened that way back when. Wasn't it FDR who threatened he was going to court pack to get his stuff through, even though he didn't do nothing, even though he wouldn't include us in it? But that's neither here nor there. I'm saying there was a precedent for it. Democrats will tell you all day why they can't do stuff and why it ain't gonna work. And even with the Republicans, that's the reason the Republicans chose Trump and didn't choose any of the other Republicans. They were like, y'all not gonna do nothing. He gonna do something. He out there. He gonna do what he want to do. That's why they chose him. It was a bunch of Republicans who they said, you ain't gonna do nothing. They passed all of them. You ain't gonna do nothing. You. Y'all ain't gonna do nothing. Democrats had a moment, and they ain't take it. Ed Whelan, a legal commentator who has supported Mr. Trump's judicial nominees but been critical of Mr. Trump himself, sounded the alarm on Tuesday in an essay for the conservative National Review. The once and future president appeared to be contemplating an awful and anti-constitutional idea, he wrote. Yeah, it's true. But what we have here, fam, and people are not talking about, what we have here is we have a crisis in presidential power, and nobody's talking about it. Right? So I want to read something to you. The trifecta. Let me read something to you. And this is from a book I have called, I'll show it to you in a second. Don't worry about it. Presidential Power, and that's a book. They're talking about a book, New Stats book. Stress the weakness of the president's legal authority, emphasizing the difficulties of acting unilaterally in a system of separated powers, institutional decentralization, and competition with other actors with their own independent sources of power. This weakness is aggravated by the gulf between what the public expects of the presidency and what occupants can deliver, and the collapse of traditional political structures, especially political parties that once gave stability and... Hold on a second. Let me get the next one up. Sorry, y'all. I had to screenshot this from my book. so please judge it to my head and not my heart. But I couldn't find it. Advocacy to presidential leadership. The perceived disintegration of one presidency after another. Johnson, Vietnam. Nixon, Watergate. Ford, Nixon's pardon. Recession, Carter, just about everything, Reagan, Iran-Contra, Bush, recession, and Clinton impeachment has led to the conclusion that the American political system now produces failed presidencies as the norm rather than the exception. There is a school of thought that the way that the presidency is managed and the powers that presidents have now is problematic because it is ineffective and constrained. And what Trump is trying to do is to push the edges of that. He is pushing the edges of that to say, listen, I want to be able to do and have presidential power and make my presidency matter. I don't want to be constrained, and I don't want to be any one of these, the president's mission. I don't want to be a failed president. The changes wrought by television and the proliferation of interest groups, the decline in U.S. international hegemony after the Cold War, the confrontational style of media coverage of the presidency, congressional assertiveness, divided government, a bloated bureaucracy, and persistent budget deficits combined to place the presidency under siege, incapable of governing except under the most extraordinary circumstances. Trump is trying to transform the presidency. That's what it is. He is trying to transform the presidency as we know it. And when I talk about the crises and all that, when I talk about that, this is part of that. This perception, we're not talking about, if you want to get and talk about all the perceptions. Oh, the book was With the Stroke of a Pen. It's about executive orders. It's an older book, but pretty good. With the Stroke of a Pen by Kenneth R. Is it the Mayer? But anyway, this book right here. But reading, if you want to be able to understand this stuff right now, read a little bit about presidential power. He's trying to expand presidential power because there is a school of thought that presidential power is sort of neutered at this point. It's not real power. I get in here and everybody constrains me from every which way. Hey, y'all do. Hey, you can't confirm nobody. I believe it's an overreach, but if you understand how presidential power is perceived, right, by many, then you understand it. And you have to understand that. Everybody's running for power. I ain't got but 4 years or 8 years here. And I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying if you understand that, you begin to understand when I say this, when I say failed doctrines, the presidential power is one of those doctrines that some people believe has failed. I'm just saying. Now we can get to a couple of the other ones. Because listen, it is what it is. And it taint what it taint. What was this other one at? Hold on. Now, we have to get to this one really quickly. There's another failed doctrine. Ladies and gentlemen, there is another failed doctrine. Advocacy, ladies and gentlemen, is another failed doctrine. These are people. Al Sharpton, he gonna march himself. He gonna march his little self crazy. These are people who the presidents are supposed to be able to impact power. Trump is saying, I'm throwing everything out the window and I'm doing some authoritarian stuff, and partly because I want what I want. I want to transform America in ways that some of which will not be beneficial to us at all. But hey, I had a lot of Negroes telling me that I don't need no government. We got to get it out the mud. So hey, go tell boys you can get flashcards. I don't know. You got to figure it out now. You say you didn't need no government, right? I don't know why you say that. Why you act like we need? What I do? What I get on my shirt? I don't know why you saying that we need no government. We don't need no government like that, Yvette. We don't. We got to get it how we got to build our own. That's what we got to do. We got to get the culture together. Okay, let's see how the culture works. Because they talking about getting rid of the Department of Education, all kinds of stuff. But I'm talking about right now the failed doctrines. Advocacy is another one. You cannot have. Advocacy is so important. Because y'all know, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot do it. And so, these are people who are supposed to be advocating for you. I'm not upset if somebody and I'm not even a fan of this organization, Black Voters Matters, gets money because they register voters. Right? And so, you should pay them to do that, right? If you're a Democrat and ADOS votes, you should pay them to do that. But there's another kind of person who works for MSNBC, as Al Sharpton does, and you get $250,000 on September the 5th of 2024, and from Harris for president. Now, you are on one hand on MSNBC as this person telling me that this person is just the best person, and on the other hand, you're accepting money from this person. You are not serving me. We're in a place now where our advocates don't serve us. Well, no, National Action Network got that money. Y'all don't do enough work to get that money. You cannot be on MSNBC. This is an ethics violation. You cannot be on MSNBC telling me, interviewing Harris and smiling and just acting like, well, I'm just down with her because she's for the people. And on the other hand, you are taking this. That was another check. Hold on. September and October, you were paying this man who was on MSNBC, pretending as if his commentary is just about what's good for you, as opposed to the fact that you getting $250,000 here and $250,000 there. Our advocacy has failed. Oh, why is Yvette always talking about join ADOS.com? Because that's all you got. Sorry. I'm not saying there are not some good orgs down there, but everybody seems to be compromised. And you cannot do that. You have to have an org that's just there to serve you. You cannot have Al Sharpton taking money from Power and then say, I'm going to apply pressure to Power. No, you're not. You're going to take the money from Power. And you're only up in MSNBC. Like, you are on MSNBC. Acting like, well, I'm just doing this because it's right. No, it seems to me that you're just doing this because there's a dollar in it. That's why you're doing this. There's money here. I don't know whether these people think we crazy or what. September and October, 250 and 250. And I don't even trust an activist. Look at, what are you doing? Look at this. Sharpton reportedly earns a seven-figure salary from MSNBC and is paid handsomely by the National Action Network, which he founded in 1991. The nonprofit paid Sharpton around $650,000 in 2021 out of $7 million in revenues. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask y'all a question. This Negro right here. Why in the world, if you're making seven figures from MSNBC, why can't you forego your check for the National Action Network? It's some low life stuff right here. Why won't you just say, if you are making seven figures, that means you have $1 million, multi-million-dollar salary from the National Action Network. Why can't you just say, y'all keep that? Now, if I get fired or I lose my job at MSNBC, I'm going to go back and get that salary. Why do you need that? You greedy. You don't trust no greedy advocate. Don't trust no greedy person like this. The nonprofit paid Sharpton around $650,000 in 2021 out of $7 million in revenue and spent another $940,000 that year for transportation services to private jet firm Apollo Jets and the limousine company Carrier International. What kind of activists need to be riding around the limousine? Either you crazy or you think I'm crazy, but I don't know which one it is. If you got what kind of limousine was King in? What kind of limousine was Fannie Lou Hamer in? What kind of limousine? What kind of limousine were these people in? You need to ride around in the limo. They spent $650,000 on salary and $940,000 for you to ride around and pretend. And I thought you said Tyler Perry gave you the jet. Turns out that if they only got $7 million in and they spent $940 and then $650 on you, we had at least 1.5 million just on you, just spending on you. This is a one-man show. These people are narcissists. This is part of the trifecta that has failed you. This is it. You can't have nobody like this running nothing for you. Let me make this smaller. But you cannot, fam, you cannot. This is a failure. We talked about the failure of presidential power. The other failure is you cannot have somebody. The other failure is advocacy. You cannot have somebody who represents you in activist spaces, who is their own celebrity and is using their organization to live a multi-million-dollar life. They don't even need it. They could use just the MSNBC money to do it. That's not an activist. That's a celebrity. It's not an activist. What you need a private jet for? You can't fly. You can't fly. Why you can't? Why you? This man said he got to fly private. He thinks he's somebody. You are nobody. I think people have lost the idea, and that's why we have a crisis. People don't understand the idea anymore of servant leadership. Your only job is to serve the people. But if you're flying private, you're skirting the people. You're finding a way to get around the people. You don't even want to run into the people in the airport. Don't make me think you don't love the people. Like that you love the people. Don't make me think you love the people. You don't even want to run into them in the airport. Ain't no other reason to apply for it. Well, I need to get there. Well, schedule it earlier then. And anything you schedule that flies regular is gonna be cheaper than what you fly private. You must be a fool, or you think I'm a fool. Like $940,000 for transportation. Do you know what you could have spent? Do you know how many people you could have fed? Do you know how many people you could have saved from eviction? Do you know how much you could have? You don't care. Yeah, somebody said Activism Inc. We have the first crisis, the presidential power. That's what Trump's trying to take back, and we should have took it a long time ago. And we should have been pressuring them a long time ago. As ADOS, we should have been pressuring for the stuff we need a long time ago and not letting them skirt. We have a crisis in that. We be feeling all kinds of stuff and don't nobody move. Not in a way that's transformative. We got an activism crisis. We got activists who want to be celebrities more than they want to be activists, who want to fly private. Wait a minute, you want first class? You want to fly private? Like first class, they got a little extra leg room. No, I want to fly private. You don't get to fly private. Go start a business. If you want to fly private, go start a business. People do not pay. That's not what, if you, as an activist, that's not what the money should go for. Start a business. Way more than first, like $50,000 for a flight on a private jet, right? If you got a business, ain't nothing I can say. We have a crisis. That's a crisis. That is a crisis. We got people, everybody getting paid. Y'all saw Y'all saw Oprah? Swore she wasn't getting no money. She was getting paid too. Everybody, you're supposed to, we're thinking and believing, fam, that these people are doing this because they believe in Kamala. No. People out here getting paid. It's pay for play. Pay for play out here. Come on, Miss, I almost called Oprah Miss Sealy. Come on, come on, Oprah. Just pay to play. I thought you said, Oprah now, I thought you said that you didn't get no money. Now, the thing shows different. The paperwork, you just gotta, the paperwork don't look right, Oprah. You said you didn't get nothing, but Oprah, the paperwork don't look right, Oprah. It just don't. I'm not trying to listen. I'm not trying to do nothing to nobody. I'm just telling you, it looks like you might have told the story. Oh, look at that. That's a crisis. That is a crisis. Whether we realize it or not, that is a crisis. There's another crisis that we have, though. Right? We got a few of them. It ain't just one. The last crisis, ladies and gentlemen, is a crisis in media. We had presidential power, activism. We got activism, people who claim they love stuff and they getting paid off. And there was some money there. What's some money there for Marco Morial and stuff in there too? Probably didn't register not one voter number. At BET talking about, allegedly, at BET talking about, well, we just have to do something about this. We the black men and Kamala, da, da, da. Well, did you get paid? We got to ask all y'all now, did you get paid to say this? Did your organization get paid? Because that's you getting paid. So we have but the last crisis I want to talk about is crisis in media. Viewers flee MSNBC and flock to Fox News in wake of election. Now, a lot of this says that this was normal and natural. I'll read a quick clip, a quick excerpt for you. It seems her audience does not agree to my Rachel Maddow, at least for the moment. The Rachel Maddow Show, the liberal network's highest rated program, drew 1.3 million viewers on Monday, about 1 million shy of her October average, according to Nielsen. In crucial ratings metric, viewers under the age 54, it was the least watched edition of the show since April of 2022. That's interesting. That performance mirrors much of what has been happening at MSNBC in the week since Mr. Trump's election win. MSNBC has averaged 550,000 viewers since Election Day, a 39% decline compared with the network's average in October. In primetime, MSNBC's audience has declined 53%, according to the Nielsen data. Now, let me get this one last one for you. The opposite happened at Fox News. Show you right. MSNBC's conservative rival. Fox News' audience in primetime has grown 21% since last Wednesday, with an average of 3.3 million viewers, according to Nielsen. Its total day audience has jumped 38% as Mr. Trump has turned to some Fox News talent to help fill out his administration. The network's coverage has been more euphoric than sober. Mr. Trump has named Tom Hallman, a Fox News contributor, as board czar, and on Tuesday night said he had selected Peter Hag, I still don't know that man's name, a co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, as his defense, which I think is just crazy. But it's not about what I think. It's about what I know. And what I know is this. For me, I think part of the reason, and they give a lot of reasons and they say it's going to go up and down and all sorts of stuff. But I think they're experiencing a crisis in honesty. Like Fox News went through its crisis in dishonesty. We know now that Fox News is a conservative network. That's just what it is. And then I can do it by, and then you can do it by. It's a conservative network. The problem with MSNBC, first of all, it had people believing that Kamala was going to take it. It was like people who were watching it they was outside talking about, yeah, she got it. I just, I'm just waiting for it to come in. They lied to people about the odds, right? And like, it's hard to trust people after that. The second thing is we were called agents of misinformation on there. So you obviously lie. right? We've experienced that firsthand. There is a trustworthy issue, right? People don't trust you. People don't trust the information that you give. And when people stop trusting you, that's a problem. Biden, look, Biden, y'all saw Biden today out there smiling at Trump. He was in there. They were looking at each other. And they were shaking hands. He was outside. They outside took a picture with Biden's wife. What's her name? Jill, whatever her name is. They was outside. How you smiling with somebody who's a threat to democracy? I think I would have just, if I think you coming in and I can't stop you, you a threat to democracy, I'm not gonna have no meeting. He left and he didn't have no meeting with you, child. I'll pack my stuff up that day. Child, I'm gone. Y'all figure it out. It didn't look that way. I'm saying it just makes people look like maybe running on a threat to democracy wasn't what you should have did. Y'all promised people a win. Y'all lied to people. Y'all shut down people who was trying to tell you, like, hey, we need stuff. It seems like your voice is to shut down the base of the Democratic Party, which is ADOS. Seems like your voice is to shut us out, as opposed to bring us in and understand our needs. Seems like y'all's job is to bring on people academics to tell us how we stupid. I'm just saying. Once you lose the trust of the people, you're going to have a problem. And it seems like you have a problem. I mean, what is that? And Trump went in that thing like a dog with a bone. He didn't say, I'm sort of restrained by the Constitution or whatever. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be restrained by the Constitution, but you got to figure a way to do it. There is not, let me show one last thing before I get out here. Because let me show this. Even with Congress, it's not just one way. Y'all got to excuse my little handwriting on here. Congress's success, though, is conditioned by its collective institutional structure. How then can we predict in which areas the president will be able to operate effectively, and in which he will either lose in direct confrontations or avoid clashes altogether? Silverstein's analysis of separation offers some help. In his view, legislators will more likely organize effectively when they are dealing with issues directly affecting their constituents. Directly affecting their constituents. Nobody cares about your little constitutional views half the time. Find something that impacts the constituents, and that's how you get it. Don't nobody care about something as general as a threat to when there's a threat to democracy, what happens? That's what we care about. What will I lose? And what can I win with you? That's what people care about. Congress, in other words, is most effective when it is acting as a representative institution, because it is more likely to respond to sustained electoral pressure than to vague concerns that the president's encroaching on its administrative or procedural prerogatives. On issues of institutional structure, in particular in foreign policy, it will be far less able to check presidential authority. Don't care about your vague concerns. This is unconstitutional. Yeah, I get it, but what does it mean for me? And Democrats never could tell you what it meant for you or what it meant for me. Freaking circle jerk. You got to be responsive to your constituents. How is this hard? Fam, is that hard to any of you? It ain't hard to me. Move right out there. Reparations ain't happening. You need it, child. I know you got $35 in your account. Let me say, the people who tell you reparations ain't happen to be the ones who got the least amount of money in their account. But I ain't trying to make fun of you. I'm just saying, listen, there was a time when people said slavery ain't never gonna happen. You know them white folk got whips. Slavery. Listen, I mean, you ain't gonna never get out of this boat. You know, you ain't gonna never get out of this boat cause you ain't gonna never get out of this cause did you see Massa bought some new guns? Let me tell you, some of y'all are just the weakest people. Like, we would have never got out of slavery if we had listened to, if you walk outside and white folk got all the power. They got guns, they got whips, they got chains. They own everything. And they telling you were never gonna be free. You would never have gotten out of there. You would have been rolling around in the dirt. I don't even think you would have picked no cotton, just rolled around crying. They would have had to whip you awake. Listen, everything changes at the drop of a dime. Like nobody thought that we would have Obama in 2008 and 12 and Trump right here in 2024. You don't know what the end will bring. You don't have no mirror. All you can do is fight for what you fight for. And do your best to protect that $35 in your account. Because it's going to get rough out here before it gets better. Listen, you ain't got to worry about reparations. You ain't got to worry about that. Worry about your $35. You ain't got to worry about that right now. Don't worry about that right now. You got to worry about gas money. You got to worry about Department of Education. You got kids. You got to worry about they got Matt Gates as whatever they got him as. You got a lot of stuff to worry about right now. Don't even put your mind on that right now. You ain't got the mind to go on that right now. Don't you put your little brain on that. Put your mind on $35. How can I make this $35 last? My recommendation is beans and lentils. If I had to recommend you, beans and lentils is how you make money last. And a little bit of rice. Got to have a little carb in there. You got to have a little carb in there. No, you can't invest in 35, fam. It's already up. You can't invest 35 enough. If you only got 35, you are not an investor. If you got 35, you got to put that into beans and lentils. And you got to make it last. Put some seasonings in there. Make it a soup. Do what you got to do. But people act like, oh my God, you're not no predictor of nothing. Like, who would have thought that Trump is now talking about giving people restitution for the reverse discrimination? Would you have thought that when Obama got elected? Would you have thought that? 2008, 2012? No, you wouldn't have thought that. Like, political change happens at a drop of a dime. I was reading this book, and I'll leave y'all with this right here. I remember I saw something a long time ago, and they were talking about, places where genocides happen, right? Like Germany and stuff like that. And they asked the question, why don't people leave? Like, if this thing is happening and people know this thing is going to happen, why not get out of there, right? And the question that they answered that question by saying, change happens too fast, right? Like, you go from one day is some political problems, but it's not so bad. And the next day, people in the camps and stuff. What I'm saying is that change happens good for the best and for the worst really quickly a lot of times. You just have to position yourself for it the best way you can. And until you can get it, you get everything you can. Right? You get the whole black agenda. You get whatever you can as quick as you can. Right? But that's why they don't leave. That's how quick change happens. You wake up one day, the next day you look out the window, who they got in chains? Wait a minute, Mary, Leroy. Like, I'm trying to make a light of it, but that's how quickly change happens. You cannot always predict how quickly it will happen. You can see flashpoints and you can say this signals a problem, right? And I see how people could say that with the Trump administration. Right? So you can see flashpoints, and we see flashpoints, but you cannot say with any kind of certainty, as if you are somewhere sitting with a crystal ball or something. You don't know. So stop. Don't talk to me like you know. Like, that's not okay. Don't talk to me like you know something when I know you don't know nothing. Instead of talking to me like you know something, figure out what to do with the 35. Don't act like you don't need the 35. We know you need the 35. But anyway, fam, that was my last word on it. The three things wrong. We had media, activism, and we had a presidential power crisis. Those are the three crises that we have, and Democrats should have fixed that before any of this stuff happened, and we wouldn't be in this position right now. You can't just talk about Republicans and how bad they are. You got to talk about what you can do for the people in no uncertain terms. Going to a quick break, fam. I'll be back, and we can have the conversation. All right, family. We are back. We are back. I don't be doing nothing over here but setting up the phones. I'm like, oh, I forgot to hit the thing. I forgot to hit the thing. Ooh, it be some playing producer over here, boy, I tell you. Anyway, fam, we finna go right in to the phones. Let me get this thing off of your screen. Get off of your screen. Just 1 second. Give me 1 second. It'll be off your screen in 1 second. Let me cut off of my thing, and I will take this little thing off your screen because I got to get my thing. I got to get my, I got to cut my audio off. Give me 1 second, fam. I'll get the blue off. I'll get the blue off in 1 second. Let me get this. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I get this blue screen off. All right, fam. We are back. Y'all be doing all people setting up the phones. We can see you. Yep. I forgot to do it that time. I'm like, ooh. But anyway, let's try to go to the phones, family. I am going to 404. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Hey, fam, what's going on?
Beautiful sister Yvette.
What's up with you? How you doing?
Rod calling from the Cascades, Atlanta, Georgia. Your partner in crime at City Hall, Atlanta.
What's going on?
Blessings to you and the whole entire Breaking Brown family and to the allies. Yvette, thank you so much. Just thank you. It's been amazing preparation over the years. We saw Kamala Harris coming like you brought forth 2017, that Kamala Harris, that Obama playbook. And the wisdom that you've given me from these conversations, you made me fall in love with my people. Thank you for that. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I love you. You know that. I was kind of proud of the way I've grown over the years when Cedric Richmond comes up there and, on Kamala campaign, and she's so rude and don't speak to your people at Howard University. It's like, wow, I know who these people are. There's the grifter from Cancer Alley who did that for his people, but here he is.
Oh, Mr. Richardson. Yeah.
And I wouldn't know these people if it wasn't for you. You got me cutting up. You know about, the 6th district, Jim Clyburn. You have really got activated a whole multitude of us across the nation. We're cutting up on Facebook and on Instagram, and man,
cutting up everywhere.
Sister.
Thank you.
I just love you. I'm gonna be brief, but like I said, guys, even today I saw Nissan laying off 9,000 jobs, and we just gotta come Nissan because the dealership. So it's just so many issues coming up for the Adolf family. I voted for Trump, by the way. I like Robert. I like Mr. Kennedy, but since they pushed him out the window like they did Bernie Sanders, then I went along with the Trump campaign. But I'm independent. I usually vote down ballot, and I helped get Andre Dixon elected here in Atlanta. But so, sister, thank you so much for your work. I just love you so much in the Breaking Bell family, and shout out to Larry and everybody over in the Cascades and all the family just across the country. Keep it up, sis, and thank you so much.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. You have a good one. I know you. We got Atlanta. See me around Atlanta. Yeah. All right. You have a good one, fam. I appreciate you. We be outside. But you know what? He mentioned split ticket, and I wanted to say something about that because what people don't understand either is that I saw AOC talking about we have to talk to the split ticket voters. And that means, we talk about some people who voted, like they might have voted for progressive stuff and didn't vote top of the ticket, or the top of the ticket and the bottom of the ticket switch. So they might have voted for Trump at the top and voted for, some other stuff, or might not have, some progressive stuff at the bottom. And like, I don't think people understand there was a lot of down ballot, right? And people are like, oh my God, you might be a Democratic shield when you talk about down ballot and stuff. No, that's something that people came to understand through us. And regardless of what we did or didn't advocate this election, some people decided that they were going to do it, just like he said. So, and you have people like AOC now saying we have to go investigate what happened there. There were a lot of people who voted Democrat but didn't vote for Kamala. There were some people who voted, who didn't vote top. We have to figure that out. They're trying to figure out what we were talking about. right? In terms of, you probably had us do it. I know you had us do it. You had the Arab Americans or the Muslims. You had some of them. Like, that is something that people say, hey, what were these people looking for when they voted? So when you had people, oh gosh, when you had, you had to be a Democrat shit when you said do. Oh. Anyway, let me go to the next caller. I am coming to 301. 301, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is O calling out of PG County, Maryland, home of the most psychotic Negroes on the
Listen, it's about to be how many people gonna have jobs there after this? After Trump get finished?
I don't know. Well, they all work for the federal government, so we'll see.
Oh, okay.
But I just wanted to point out a few things. One of the things that I see reverberating around social media a lot is, oh, Trump's a felon. Negroes, stop. Because y'all love that from the whole pimp stick to the pulpit story.
Uh-oh.
I don't know no other group. I don't know no other group of people who put so much emphasis in elevating degenerate men.
Oh, I'm not saying nothing.
For how many generations, though, tell me if I'm lying, was that the story? From the pimp stick to the pulpit.
Oh.
So shit, by that measure, he should be right up Black people's alley. I mean, that's why rap music was such an easy sell, right?
I called it degenerate a long time ago, but, that gets you in trouble.
But, I did not vote for Trump. I did not vote for Kamala. I third party voted. I just voted for Jill Stein. But I'm actually very hopeful, and I think that this is a great time for Negroes on the ground, wherever they are, wherever they find themselves, to start getting some shit done.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to work in LGBTQ nonprofits years ago, what was supposed to be Black LGBTQ nonprofit. And what we can see the grift is today in what was Black Lives Matter, I'm here to tell you, any Black organization that wants to get some stuff done on the ground for ADOS people, we have to separate ourselves from this giant centipede that is LGBTQ, that attaches itself to every other movement, makes their calls, makes our calls their calls. They have the money, they have the resources, and they can go around buying up every other movement, every other nonprofit. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. Another thing that we have to do in clearing house, and let me also say this because, and that's not to hate on them, because Black ADOS people in those spaces need a lot of help.
Mm-hmm.
You see, white people figured out their AIDS crisis and solved their AIDS crisis back in the early 90s. After they did that, they went on to integrating themselves further into white society.
Mm-hmm.
They made themselves fully white. Meanwhile, back at the ranch in 2024, the overwhelming majority of new HIV cases are going to be Black MSM, Black men who have sex with men. The overwhelming majority. But for the last 15 years, the few small, raggedy LGBTQ nonprofits that call themselves doing the damn thing for Black people, they're too busy promoting trans. They're too busy having galas and balls and award ceremonies for trans people, for T.S. Madison, for all these celebrities. That's what they're doing. They mission drifted just like the NAACP did decades ago. The last thing I want to say is that another problem that we have in our social political spaces, we've got too many damn old people. Okay? I want to go to the church. That's another reason why that institution is failing as it should. It's too many damn old people in charge. If you look at the Congressional Black Caucus, it's a damn senior citizens home. I saw a clip not too long ago of Maxine Waters. This is back when the Democrats were still trying to pretend like we couldn't see that Joe was wearing Depends and didn't know what was going on. But she's talking about, oh, people talking about Biden's too old. I'm older than Biden. That's the problem, Maxine.
Yes, you didn't get the irony.
You're 86 years old. Where the hell are your grandchildren?
Well, also, and let me just say this, fam. Like, what I feel like is that once people get older, they should be the wise counsel, right? Like, you should retire, and I should be the one to call and say, hey, I'm having a problem with this. And you should share with me your institutional knowledge, right? So, like, but they don't, and you should be training people. They will stay there. And it's not just race sensitive. It's all of them.
But you know, the problem is that the boomers and the silent gen in particular, they don't want to take the L. They don't want to admit that everything that they have done, everything that they have touched since '68 has failed. They don't want to admit that, and unfortunately, they're still in power. Hell, I live right outside of D.C. D.C.'s own Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, another octogenarian, talking about she's not going to retire. Where are y'all black women's grandchildren? Don't y'all have things to do?
Instead of flying back and forth and back and forth and flying back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Like, cause I don't think people understand. These people have to keep a pace. Like, when you work in DC, you have to keep a pace. You do the work during the day, then you got to make calls, then you got to fly back home all these weekends. Child, ain't you tired?
Ain't you tired, Maxine? Ain't you in your wig tired?
Why you got to bring a wig into this? Now, that ain't right. You took it too far.
You know, between Maxine and her wigs and Al Sharpton and his perm, I'm sick of all of them. But thank you so much for the work you do. I think this is a great opportunity for 80 West people on the ground, and I'm excited about what we can get done in the next 4 years.
I am too. Appreciate you, fam. Thank you so much for calling in. And let me just add one thing to what he said. You know, so many people, and this is where I know where people just don't have any vision, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I can't do, if you ain't got vision, I can't help you. But so many people don't understand that this is a great moment to build. Like, it's not just about what happens in this next 4 years. Well, I bet you, because we don't even know what happens in the next 1 to 2 years, honestly. I bet you Trump won't get you this reparation check, right? Like, you have an opportunity. Listen, if Kamala, this is the thing, if Kamala had gotten elected, Negroes are going to sleep. How do you know that, Yvette? I remember y'all doing the Obama administration. You went to sleep. You went to sleep for 8 years and showed pictures, and you were proud of nothing. You didn't get nothing. You walked around proud. So I know that if Kamala had gotten elected, you would be asleep. I need Negroes to be awake. You're gonna be awake now. But let me go to the next call. I am going now to 443. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yes, hi. I'm calling from Baltimore City.
Hey.
And I'm an old person. I'm over 70.
They just cussed you out. I'm not playing with you. I'm playing.
I just wanted to hear on what you just said. You said you were asleep for 8 years during Obama.
Yeah.
And you were saying that the presidency, the weakness of the presidency, I remember very distinctly when Obama made his speech when he was, I think it was on Inauguration Day, actually. One of the speeches that he gave in 2009, he said, but you got to make me do it, though. In other words, he needed us to mobilize because he didn't just do it on his own, probably because of pressure from donors and owners on his. But I do remember that he said that. And I just wanted to put that out there. And I'm not a person who supports Obama, even though I voted for him the first time. I am not Obama, not the Clintons, not Kamala, none of those people. I'm not, And my decision was trying to decide whether to go for Joe Stein or Trump. And the whole Bobby Kennedy piece with the organic food and those kind of things. And the piece about the national sovereignty with the WHO and all those things are kind of important because I said, if we aren't looking at that, if we're about to lose our sovereignty in terms of when the vaccines come out and they do the mandates, and it will be up to the WHO to determine whether or not we're having a pandemic or not. And we would lose a lot of power there, and a lot of people would be at the mercy of decisions made not even by our own government. So that was one of the things that really swung me over. So I did not go for Jill Stein. And I can say that in the last few days, I am feeling some I didn't realize that things were going to go the way they're looking like they may go with Israel and the Palestinians. I'm not happy about that when Trump gets in. That's a big disappointment for me. But I still would not have voted for, the Biden-Harris ticket. But I just wanted to say that about Obama saying that.
Yeah, because I think it wasn't it. Well, who was it told? Somebody, I think that comes from somebody who told A. Philip Randolph that. Who was it? Who was that? LBJ? I can't remember who told A. Philip Randolph, you got to make me do it, right? And I think what happened, and we got it backward. We got it backward now. We feel like we just got to support this person so much, and they'll do it. And it's like, no, that's not. It's the other way around. Like you have to put them in a position where they can say, "Hey, I ain't got no choice."
We got to have the spirit of a Cornel West because he was definitely trying to stick a burr under Obama. But but we live and learn. Hopefully.
Your mouth to God's ears.
I'm just going to be sort of watching and waiting.
All right.
Right now.
I understand. I appreciate your call.
Thank you for everything you do.
All right. You have a good one. All right. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Appreciate you. I think we kind of mixed that up. And that's the thing that you miss if you don't read and you don't study politics. You think that like, if I support this person, I'm down, they're going to do something for me. And it's just like, no, that's not how it works. You have to force politicians. Politicians regrettably don't usually get into politics to make sure that your life is good. And yeah, you can say that that's a problem and it shouldn't be that way. But I tell people all the time, I deal with the world as it is, not how I wish it would be. And I was talking to somebody one time and I was like, I deal with the world as it is. He was like, well, I'm creating new worlds. And I was just like, you idiot. But like, you have to create the entryway to creating a new world is through how it is right now. Right? Like that's the entryway. You enter the world how it is and you navigate that landscape and you build something new, right? But you don't just be like, I'm just building new worlds. You don't build new worlds in your mind, but yeah, you can. But once you build them in your mind, you have to be like, okay, this is my vision and this is how the world is moving right now. And how do I bring those things together? Whatever. But anyway, let me go to 850. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. That Brother K's on calling from Pensacola, Florida.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Sister, hope that rain not showing up. You made a valid point when people be saying we're not going to never get our reparation. And you said exactly almost what I say. People, they used to say the same thing. There used to be people on the plantation with that same thing of what's not going to happen, but we did. And I'm like, even it's kind of strange. We have a strange behavior how we react to certain things in politics or the lack thereof of understanding politics. Even when you were pointing out that about Al Sharpton, I was like, there's somebody, a good third of our people, oh, well, y'all hating for pointing that out. You just hating and whatnot. And then go right back into it right on their social media and complain about how hard they're working and the less they're getting paid, how high the bills are.
And they don't connect. They don't ever connect the two.
They don't. And it baffles me. Matter of fact, it almost puts me in a position to where I have to be careful for my mental health, trying to figure out how are they so crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what, especially if you, fine. If you're in your 20s, early 30s, and whatnot, I can kind of slide. I kind of get it and whatnot. But once you in your 40s and on up to your 50s, you should have a conscious 30-year to 20-year record in your head over your life that should be sharp. Most of us that are in our 50s, our oldest child probably is in their late 20s, definitely early 30s. And then you come down the line, and it's like you should really be able to have what were you doing in school when it was current event time? What do you mean you don't understand the difference in between the policies, if you're hearing policies or you're not hearing policies? But, and I'm going to end it with this. I'm sorry, when that thing surfaced Cardi B. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That should have told them a lot of what she really thought of them.
Well, but hold on. Let me stop you. Let me stop you right there, though, fam. I don't even necessarily believe that. And this might be controversial, but I heard, and it could be wrong, that David Plouffe, one of Obama's people, was the brains behind this what you want to call it, celebrity campaign. And I think Kamala just doesn't know how to campaign. Like, I think part of this is that she's just not a good candidate. She didn't even do celebrities the first time she ran, and she came in like 19th, 11th, 12th, somewhere around there. I think she doesn't know how to do this. And nobody's ever said you don't know how to do this, like, not well. You know what I mean? And I think that became part of the problem. And I think because there were three months or whatever the case, they just started throwing poo at the wall, or what? I mean, just throwing anything at the wall. Like, they just started throwing stuff out there. Anything. Yes, the concert strategy. Right. Concerts are not a strategy. And like, thank you, Taj Marie. And who came up with that? Like, it's just anything people were throwing at a wall. It's almost like instead of having a strategy that was based on information and data, they all got in a room. Well, what you think? What you think we ought to, you know, we got Plies out there. We got the little crying man. What you call him? The little gay boy that be crying. What you think? We got the influencers over here, and we're gonna have the concert over here. Celebrity time. And they didn't even understand that we're moving past celebrity as the arbiter for all this. Like, this is not Obama. This is not 2008. This is not what it is. Obama couldn't win today. He would do better than Kamala, but I don't think he wins now. It's a totally different moment. And she can't win because we've had Obama. So you can't fool us with Obama 2.0. So I think there were a lot of problems. And and just the strategy was a real big one. Even with and of course Biden shouldn't have ran either. Biden should not have ran for re-election ever. Even if he didn't have problems, like in terms of his age, you promised us to be a bridge candidate. Be that.
Yes, ma'am. Well, listen, Sister Bet, you were precious with your time with me as always.
Appreciate you.
I'll get out the way and let somebody else jump in.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And listen, listen, Negroes, you still can't blame Negroes. Negro women, Negro men, most of them, listen, if somebody shows up for you at an 80% clip, like, you can't, Latino men wasn't, white women wasn't. Like, so even with that, nobody was turned off enough. I'm talking about amongst ADOS to just really be like, I'm not doing, I'm just for them. That was still, the base of the Democratic Party is still ADOS. That's all I'm saying. That'll let's just put it right like that. Like the people say, let's put it right like that. Going to 347, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Turned off enough. I'm talking about
Turn your background down. Turn your background down. Turn your laptop down. Or whatever you listen to me on, turn it down. Hit that mute. Hello?
Hello, Yvette?
Yep.
Well,
yep.
Peace and blessings, sis.
Thank you.
Doing? How you
Pretty
doing?
good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Listen, I'm glad I got through again. This is Ruby Red from Brooklyn, New York. I was on here before, and I was so excited I didn't even get a chance to tell you my name. But I got to tell you, you did your thing the other night on that news
thank
show
you.
that you was on. A couple of us caught it. You were sharp. You represented us like you always do.
I appreciate
that. The best and the best, baby.
I thank you. I appreciate that. I try.
Now you did it. Had your makeup on. You were sharp, intact.
Listen, once you get certain age, that camera ain't kind.
You did that well, and we want to give you your flowers.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all. We got to make it happen. But thank you. I appreciate you.
And so all those folks is out here that's running scared, listen, put your money where your mouth is. If you want to run up to the mountain, just leave your paycheck and whatever you got for us so that ADOS will keep this going. Because it's not time to be scared. It's time to build, right? Mm-hmm. And we got to get this money up.
Got to.
That's what time it is. We have to build our foundation. We have to put our money where our mouth is and start raising this money so that we can get the things that we need. That's it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're right. And listen, ain't no time to be hiding off nowhere. Like it's just if I just don't think a group that comes from what we come from, it's interesting to hear people say that. Like instead of being prepared, instead of being scared, I need you to be prepared. I need you to start understanding what are the risks for you. What are the risks to your income? What are the risks in terms of your job? Like, what are the risks in terms of your livelihood, and see how you can mitigate those risks in terms of going forward. Like I said earlier, this is about understanding the moment that you're in. There are a lot of reasons, and I tried to outline some of them while we're here, but this is about that. And the thing about fear is it blinds you. And the last thing you need to be right now is blind.
That's true. And I think that Trump is old, cold, and ready to fold. I think he's gonna have to keep an eye on that vice president, that Vance.
Oh yeah, he's 40 years old. Ooh, young.
Mm-hmm. He young, honey. He want to push him out the way so he can get up there and do what he got to do. So we got to keep our eyes open and keep this movement going and get people to join and understand politics and change your mindset, not for just the world, but for you. Open up your eyes and really see what's going on. But that young one, he's something to keep your eyes up on, that Vance, because he'll have us back in hand making tails, honey.
I agree with you. I mean, I think people that's the threat, right? People be looking at him. That's the threat. He's 40. Like Trump is old. Yeah. Like this man is 40. You understand that? Like he went and got a 40-year-old.
Yes. And he got plans for him, honey. He got plans. So while they making their plans, we have to stay focused, continue to build our foundation, donate, and keep supporting you on Patreon and here. And y'all come on and join this foundation, and let's get the real thing going.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much, sis.
No, I appreciate you.
Have a wonderful
You
night.
too. You have a great one too. And like, just so y'all know, just a reminder again, we're still raising money for the reparations framework. Because we're not gonna stop advocating for them because of no one president and nobody, child. Presidents come and go, communities don't. And we are a community. We're not gonna stop. We're nobody hiding in no hole. So we still gonna do what we got to do. And it just is what it is. And people who don't like it tend not like it. But if somebody could throw that link in there for the reparations framework to donate to that, because we still have to lobby for that. We still have to get that bill done. If you saw the link for to watch the stream, if you didn't get to watch the stream of the conference, that will be up until the end of this month, to the end of November. So if you want to do that, you can also do that as well. And I think people just get addicted to like microwave advocacy. One day it's BLM, next day it's this. Do you understand that our ancestors were doing stuff for like do you understand that the civil rights movement that started in the 1950s, whatever, that was one of a few? They was doing stuff for years on years on years, and you're going to I thought we would have had that by now. No, stop with this microwave advocacy. It just don't make no sense. Don't do that no more. 219, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi there. Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
I just want to say thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing, all the research you're doing. I'm still really catching up on a lot of the videos that you've been doing. You've been doing this for about 10 years now. And I'm just really thankful that you're doing the work and representing ADOS.
Oh, thank you.
Because
I appreciate
a lot of times we don't really feel like we have a home.
Mm-hmm.
And other Black people in America don't really want to align with us.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is we got to advocate for ourselves. And so I just really appreciate everything you're doing. I'm so proud to say that ADOS has an organization that's actually doing boots on the ground work. And I'm excited for what is to come.
Oh, thank you, fam. I appreciate that. Hey, we working for, specificity, and somebody got to do it. Like, everybody just can't sit in the room and look at each other. You gonna do it? You gonna do it? Like, why don't you do it? Pull a straw. Like, somebody has to do it.
And honestly, in my community, a lot of people think I'm a little Looney Tune, right? But they thought Nat Turner was crazy. They thought Harriet Tubman was crazy. And I know you've gotten a lot of adversity and flack for what you're doing, but if people think, we're not going to survive this presidency, blah, 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 blah. We made it through slavery. We made it through Jim Crow. And as long as we stick together and stay focused and rely on each other, we're going to be good. We're going to be great, actually.
Absolutely. I agree with you, fam. Thank you so much. And like I said, what I've tried to tell people, that this is a time for us to have community again. Like, this may not be a time where you make it by yourself. right? But like, I think we have to build communities where we can. Now it's hard sometimes because sometimes you around people who have crazy, you know, I'm finna do, I'm finna get $1 million. Child, hush. Like, but I think those of us who are in this ADOS community and we understand the information, we have to build community with each other. And I think community is what gets us through this. And I think we're about to understand the power of community. It's going to put us in a position where we're really going to understand the power of movement building and building communities through building movements through community. Because we're not here just to do politics. Politics is what we're anchored in, but we have a shared experience, a shared lineage, and we want to do this stuff together. So I absolutely appreciate you. Thank you.
For sure. Oh, also, I want to say I love your accent. You are like unapologetically Black American. Love it. Very country.
You said very country. That's true. No, I appreciate it. Thank you, fam. I don't know. She might have dropped. But no, I do, child. I'm Southern, child. I can't. But let me go to another call. This might be my last call, fam. Oh, wait, here we go. I'm going to 832. 832, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Cut your background down, fam.
Hello?
Cut your background down for me. All right, you got it? Good. What's going on?
My name is Thomas. I'm from Houston, Texas.
Okay, Thomas, what's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to get right to it. The funniest thing I've realized about this whole election is that there's been too much concern over the suburban, white, conservative, evangelical suburban vote that Kamala was never going to get.
Ooh.
When you talk about reparations in terms of ADOS, a lot of black people have never reached, and you can tell they haven't, they've never talked to the liberal Democrat white person. When you talk to them in person, the person, you know, protesting for Gaza, protesting for Palestine, they on Twitter, they with their Marxist friends or whoever, they don't care about reparations for ADOS either. And that's a huge parcel of like nobody wants to reach over the board and say, well, if that basic Democratic people on the Democrat kind of that side, if they don't even want you to get reparations, why are you surprised that they want to pretend that they're aghast that Trump's going to do these DEI only for a few small white kids?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this isn't the entire white race that he's trying to give restitution for.
Mm-hmm.
It's white kids in the Ivy League. It's white kids in these big schools that a lot of white people can't even afford anyhow. And so it bothers me that a lot of people that were surprised that Kamala lost. It was like, well, the liberals don't like us either. And like you said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just no, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and my thing is like, cause I'm in Houston, and I do blue collar work, and my boss's sister and my boss is white, and his sister's white, and she's in the suburbs of Katy, Texas, where she's surrounded by Trump fans, and they're kind of like MAGA celebrity. There are a lot of white people that look at Trump as kind of like a celebrity figure, almost WWE.
Yeah, that's true.
Sports ball to them. That's
true.
But this liberal, she's liberal. She goes against all of her friends. And I remember one day she volunteered at the office. She was helping out cleaning and stuff. And she goes, and I asked her, I said, how would you feel if black people got reparations tomorrow? And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, my mom and my mom and my dad are ADOS. I have lineage to before slavery because my great grandmother's Native American and her husband was born on the plantation. How would you feel if I got a check and I got stock options and institutional power, and also if I got some sort of tax-free credit or something just because I'm ADOS? And she said, I don't think that would be fair. And then let me know right then that the liberal Democrat, blue, cat lady, whoever it is, it doesn't matter what aisle you choose. The white people that are on the left side, the ones protesting for Gaza, protesting for Ukraine, when they could have gave us the money, they could have gave us the money then. They could have solved reparations actually a year and a half ago. I mean, they could have solved it actually right after the lockdown. They could have just did it because they've been printing money for so long. And it goes to show, like, the work has to be done at an unprecedented level. And I was listening to you earlier, and I love what you spoke about. You said power. Trump comes in, he's laying down Trump's administration, there will be chaos. He will fire people, but he's doing it right away. And Democrats may actually sit on their laurels and not even learn because there's too much lobbyists going around trying to cover the tracks.
Well, and let me just say this too. Let me just say something to what you just said. When Trump decided that he was going to give whoever was victims of whatever, whether they be Asian, white, whatever, restitution, which is a form of reparations, right, for what happened to them, reverse discrimination. We know that's a lie. But like when he decided to do that, you know what didn't happen? There was no study. He didn't say, I'm gonna get a study, I'm gonna get a panel. You know, he didn't say none of that. He said, this is what I'm finna do. Like, and I don't think people understand. We needed somebody to say, "Hey, this is how the 40-hour work week. This is what I'm gonna give workers. This is what I'm gonna give people who make this kind of money. This is what I'm gonna give. We're gonna give reparations to ADOS, and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do all of it. I'm gonna do something for the poor white. I'm gonna do something, but they're not gonna get reparations. They're gonna get jobs, whatever the case. Everybody, but I'm gonna get this to the Negroes too. And what you gonna do about it? Like, you need somebody who's going to just fight that fight. Right, and I have to say, sadly enough, it will probably be a white man, because what happens is with somebody like Obama or Kamala, they feel so constrained by the fact that they're ADOS and they got there, you know. So now they just have to be accommodationist and kind of kowtow to power. You haven't had power. Like it's sad that a lot of us, and I'm not saying us as in Obama's one of us, but haven't had power. Go ahead.
Really quickly, that you know how we don't have power. They gave Kamala $1 billion for a campaign in a short span of time, and she ended up $20 million in debt. That means you don't have any power. You're actually in the negative credit. And see, and that's the thing. And I hate and what you just said. I mean, it might have to be a white man. It ain't gonna be Gavin Newsom. It ain't gonna be AOC.
No, nobody's.
AOC
No.
went on TV. What did she say? She said half of her voters, all the people who voted for AOC down ballot in New York, they still voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
In New York City.
Mm-hmm.
In their district.
They said Jersey's a swing state now.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm going to let you go. I want to call out. I've never called in before, but I followed you for years. I followed Tone Talks. I know the mission. There's only so much work we can do. I always say my main thing is, and my main code is, because I do blue-collar work, I do forklift stuff, I do chemical work, and I always say, I have never seen no Democrat, no card-carrying Democrat, liberal Marxist walk up to my lot while I'm putting chemicals in the back of no truck. Say, oh, well, this is what we're going to do for unions. This is going to do for black folks. And until I see it, it's all us. We all we got.
We all we got. I appreciate you, fam. Thank you for calling in. We all we got. You know, I think sometimes, you know, in terms of wielding power, and that's going to be my last call for the day, fam. Appreciate y'all. Because I don't never get through all the calls, honey, no more. But I think sometimes in terms of wielding power, you can either study power or you can have had it. But a lot of times what happens with whiteness is that people have had power. Trump's family had money. He inherited money. He's been around people who have money or have had money for a very long time. And so what happens is that he knows how to wield it, right? And that's muscle memory. And if you don't have that muscle memory, you have to be bolder than Trump, because you don't have that muscle memory, and you can't be worried about what's going to happen to me after this. Are the people not going to make a space for me? Am I not going to be able to make big money after I leave? You know what I'm saying? For a lot of people, the presidency is a payday. Well, if you already have money, you don't have to make it a payday, and that becomes a factor as well, right? So it is what it is, but that's kind of power. Matt Gaetz resigned already. Anyway, let me go watch TV then, y'all. But yeah, you have to understand power. And studying politics is the study of power. That's why I encourage people, like, even if you just want to run for your city council, even if you're just concerned about voting, you have to study power. Because if you find yourself in power somewhere and you have not studied power and how to wield it and how to be bold as you do it, you're going to run into trouble. But anyway, fam, appreciate you. Appreciate you. I will see everybody next time. Please be sure not to bother nobody and not to let nobody bother you. And we're going to watch how this Trump thing unfolds, child. We are living in strange times, strange, but it is what it is, and we're going to make it do what it do. I see y'all. I see if you're on Patreon, I'll see you tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. All right. Bye.